Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Ocarina of Time Season 5 Randomizer Tournament Race. Today, we have the wonderful runners of Riley versus Sponge. Commentating today, we have August 40th and Pinsari. Tracking this amazing race will be Kid3124 and MC Hundy. Take it away, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
Is there anything to be said about these two runners that people don't really know? These are two runners with a long history. They have so much experience, such great results. They've beaten some serious competition to get this far. I guess one thing that I can say is if you haven't seen the way Sponge ended up on the losers bracket against Cariosa, that is a race that everyone needs to watch. So after this race is over, check out the VOD. It seems that Sponge has a positive record against Riley, but I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, so Sponge is definitely the favorite coming into this race here. But more importantly, we've seen lots of rivals going on, some healthy competition. Today's race is between two bestest friends in the whole wide world.
I didn't know.
Yeah, two very good friends. So as much as they want to win, and they very much so want to win, they are going to be hoping for a good race because they don't want their buddy to come out of it too salty.
I mean, okay, I won't I will not acknowledge the pun, but this is a losers bracket race, so if these two runners are friends, one of them is about to kick the other out of the tournament.
Yeah, unfortunately, there can only be one.
Yeah, that's well, maybe it's extra exciting for the runners as well.
But it looks like a good start. We got our forest medallion. We got a free song waiting for us at the Temple of Time, and we have Minuet. So that is another song check right off the bat that we have in our back pocket.
Actually, two if we go to the Temple of Time, since we can check one as adult and one as child. So we're gonna get 4 songs probably fairly quickly.
Yeah, and we are starting as adult. We got that Master Sword, so just looking to see where we're spawning.
I'm going to refresh because Sponge's stream is frozen for me. He's typing a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's... No, it seems to be frozen right now. He was typing something about don't die to something, but I don't know what.
I've got audio, just no visual.
Yeah, I have audio too.
Hopefully it's one of those technical issues that doesn't take the 20-minute delay to get resolved. But that's what makes these live races so exciting.
I mean, probably it's... he was typing furiously with the keyboard on the N64. The rudimentary keyboard on the N64, maybe the stream didn't like that. Maybe once we're in the game, we'll have less problems. It seems that he's frozen, but we're spawning in a good place. Kakariko is always a nice place to start.
Yeah, but it's not good enough for Riley. We're going straight to the meadow.
I mean, he probably started the race already thinking about getting songs, but well, the thing is, you can get to Kakariko by safe warping, and once you finish clearing Kakariko, you can just go to the Temple of Time from there. So I guess going for the song first makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's gotten this far into the tournament for a reason. Makes sense. It sounds like Sponge is going a little deeper into Sacred Forest Meadow. I hear the Moblin going off. But those hints are going to remain hidden from us. We do know that Skull Mask is dead.
And we get Vanilla Son of Storm, so it's already 5 songs that we're going to get very quickly. And, well, Zarya's song is not the best, particularly with starting Minuet, but Son of Storm is pretty powerful.
Oh, and chat pointing out a very good point. Salty Sponge's timer is running just fine. So it is purely in a video capture issue on his end. Unfortunately, they are running on a 20-minute delay, so chances are he might not see that or get around to fixing that for a while. Thankfully, very likely to be following right in line with Riley.
I mean, we'll eventually see those hints on Riley's stream, so hopefully we didn't miss out on anything too important.
But we did get Song of Storms in the windmill. That's an interesting get.
Yeah, it seems that Riley went back to Kakariko much faster. He didn't check the hints. He'll probably do so once he goes back, maybe as child. There's nothing in the TARDIS, and so far nothing in Kakariko other than, as we said, Son of Storms.
Yeah, I heard a cow moo.
That can mean anything with randomized sons.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I'm not wondering... Oh, that might have been from Rufio. Okay. So Riley took a slightly different route through CAC. I'm guessing that Rufio has Lord Banana for us. Listening to Salty Sponge get his Song of Storms. Oh, no, he's checking the grotto now. It's very interesting to play. Where is the runner now when you only have their audio up?
I don't know if I like this game, but I guess... Oh no. Not again. Not the starting item as the slingshot. Well, we have Boomerang this time around, so a much better start. And we have a reason to go child. We're gonna go to the Temple of Time to collect our minuets, our vanilla prelude, and to collect Zarya's song very quickly. So that's good to have a couple of weapons and some projectiles as child. This is a popular route that people are taking more and more recently through Kakariko, where you get the grotto first and then go to Rufio. I guess it makes sense because they're headed to the market, to the Temple of Time, so you don't have to climb from down here. It's probably faster, but it's a relatively new development. Earlier on into the tournament, the runners weren't really doing this. And of course, the hookshot allows you to get to Rufio very quickly from down there without having to go through the shop. So it's definitely extra fast this way. And it seems that Riley isn't headed to Temple of Time. Instead, he's climbing the mountain.
Yeah, interesting play. We saw that the Dong's Cavern is bullish in our open grotto. But yeah, you're right. Those small time saves will definitely add up through the course of the race.
Was that a bottle? That? I think it's a bottle on top of DC. Potentially a letter. Wait, where is Boomerang?
I have no idea. I think maybe it's in Impa's house. Did Riley not check that? It's not in Kokiri somewhere.
I think he did.
It's near a cow.
It's near a cow, true. Or not. Maybe Navi has cow sounds.
I don't think so. I can hear Salty Sponge right now. You can hear him. At least we can. He's just finished his Dampe race. So he hasn't gone back child, that's for sure. Somewhere in Kakariko or...
In SFM, there's
Graveyard.
nothing really to get in SFM.
Man, no, it couldn't have been
That
SFM.
is the letter.
But that is Rudo's letter. Let's hope to see Jabu on the pedestal here.
I mean, that's letter and boomerang. All you need. Well, you need entry into the Zora area. You still need either Zelda's Lullaby, or and bombs, or a scale. So far we can't quite get into Jabu, but it's nice to have. Jabu Jabu is one of those dungeons that are hard to access to because it requires a couple of items that aren't really required anywhere else, so they can be basically anywhere. So having both of them early on should be good if Jabu ends up being in the path of the hero. A medallion or AD.
Yeah, no, I was really kind of just pointing out that the path hints could get doubled up because we have two apparently Sphere Zero Jabu items. Zelda's Lullaby can't be a path item. And I think our runners are neck and neck. I just heard Salty Sponge check 4 hint stones. 50,
dead.
30.
30 is dead.
Couldn't get the first two.
Me neither.
Yeah, it sounds like Salty Sponge ever so slightly ahead of Riley. Here in the Temple of Time. Serenade is our free song.
Well, that's always nice to have. You want to come back to adult eventually, and that makes coming back to the Temple of Time much faster. It's honestly, I'm starting to like the let's guess what Sponge is doing through audio alone minigame. Of course, we have Boomerang, we have Letter, of course Jabu Jabu is a stone.
So Sponge is sticking around the market. You can hear the chicken in there. Riley opting to check this spawn, and it looks like he is in the valley. Sounds like just a 5 rupee from Slingshot minigame.
Yeah, and I think he only missed one shot. This game has amazing sound design. The fact that we can tell what's happening on Sponge's stream without seeing anything is kind of amazing.
It's also even more amazing, right? We don't have a video on Salty Sponge. We don't have audio from Riley. We have Lost Woods Path to Something Blue.
Morpha, I think. Does use the Morpha. Okay. Early songs.
That's very nice to find. We do know our 30 and 50 hint are dead.
40 still out. And early on into the seed, when you don't have many checks to do, Samson is still nice to have. It's just very powerful. In where was this fire?
Where was what?
This fire was hinted, and that would still path to Morpha. GTG Center. Okay, well. I don't want to say anything, but that looks scary. There's a lot of items required to get to GTG Center, and Shadow is a stone.
Yeah, we have the Dango's Cavern, got Water Temple, Spirit Temple, Deku Tree, and the Fire Temple.
Still, center chest in GTG is Din's Fire. And the classic Spirit Temple path to Drova.
Yeah, and Zelda's Lullaby from Malin. Did not hear what if there was any kind of audio cue from the chicken minigame.
I wasn't paying attention either. Okay, we have our explosives.
Very nice to find. Alright, let's listen how long Salty Sponge sticks in here. There's the up C.
There's
the warp.
monkey.
So Salty Sponge just checking the market in Lon. He'll be behind Riley here going through the woods. Nothing so far path to Morpha.
Well, that might be it. We got a bow from the slingshot target in the woods. And Riley is soaring with some skull kits.
Meanwhile, Salty Sponge has played Serenade immediately. He's not digging out the Lost Woods. He's at Lake Hylia. Extra difficult to see what's on the Rudo's letter item spot right now.
Very true. Okay, apparently we're going to have to play the Ocarina game because light arrows are here. These are not the path, but we need them.
Yeah, don't mind seeing those. Just 2 checks left here in the Lost Woods. Otherwise, it is that bow path to Morpha.
Looks like we got a temp pack in that. Bottom of the wall path to Goma. Well, we have... all we need is Zelda's Lullaby, and we can complete the wall.
Zelda's Lullaby in Lon Ranch.
And of course, we already have a slingshot that was Sphere 0, so it has to be either the Kiri Sword or something that leads to the Kiri Sword.
Alright, final check in the Lost Woods. Is it our bow, or does Deku Scrub have something good for us? Nope.
Definitely the bow. So, bow locks the other bows. The question is bow required directly for... was it Water Temple? Or is bow required for something? Maybe even GTG. Maybe for the central check. That the Inspire. Logic can be as nice or as mean to us as it wants to be right now.
Well, at this point, so early on, there's just so many question marks. And it takes a couple hours to uncover all the puzzle pieces and fit the picture together.
It eventually makes sense, usually.
Okay, Salty Sponge went from the lake. Sounds like his... oh, I guess he has Sun Song, so... he grabbed the Skulltula across the plank, and now he's checking the crate and flying over to the waterfall.
Oh, there's the...
oh, okay, so Salty Sponge played Minuet, he got a Saria song, got his hint stones on the maze, and then checked Mido's house before doing Adult Kakariko.
That's aggressive.
And then he still managed to get into the Temple of Time before Riley. Very impressive.
He did it as adult, so he couldn't check the Sun chest. If you're going to warp out of here, like he was planning to do, going all the way to Kokiri Forest just to get... I don't know, there was a plan to go child relatively soon, and you have a Forest Medallion and Saria song. I find it weird. I think I'd like to ask him about that strategy later on during the interview.
It sounds like he was hoping that during his adult section, especially spawning in CAC, that he was going to get something good to progress him into Dodongo's Cavern, maybe.
I love the fact that we still get the Ocarina, even though we start with the Ocarina when you leave the forest.
Okay.
It's not required 50 skulls. It's just at most 40. I have to say, I've been watching the recent seeds, and it's kind of refreshing to have so many items. Only 16 minutes into the race. It's been a dry spell recently, for some reason.
Unfortunately, we can't jump into any dungeons, any medallion dungeons just yet, other than a Baron Dodongo's cavern. Jabu being the stone, it's not looking too good. Those are the main items we have.
Yeah, thankfully, until we have either Longshot or a bonus song, we don't have access to GTG, so AD is locked, and it's unlikely to be required until, if it is AD, it's unlikely to be required until much later into the seed logic. So for now, we can just assume that we have to go to our medallion dungeons and finish the game that way.
Salty Sponge is playing Sorry Song for Skull Kid. He'll be picking up his bow shortly from the slingshot target. Our runners
He
flip
just got
flop
himself
in
a
place.
Harum, there is a 20-minute delay for the runners. I'm sure there was communication to Sponge and help fix. It's probably like a physical issue, like a wire is not properly plugged in. So I'm sure he'll fix it within the first 5 minutes of the race, which means 20 to 25 minutes into the race, our time. You'll see the winner if it is Sponge.
Now, that is the bow for Salty Sponge. Even though you can't see it, we can hear it. And I really am kind of liking this, guessing where the other player is. I think it should become a tradition. Ooh, what if you were allowed to listen to your opponent? Could hear what they are doing. You're not allowed to watch what they're doing, but you're allowed to hear what they're doing. That
I
could
think
be fun.
that was C left, C right, A, C down, C up. I'm not sure, but I think that was the mini game song for Sponge. It's like I said. I think there was a big deal a while back when someone completed this game completely blindfolded. I can see it. I can see how you do it. It's kind of crazy how. I don't think you can do this with many even modern games. Just knowing so much about what's going on screen just based on the sounds that are happening.
If you want to see something, I will shout out one Crystal Saver who runs Celeste blindfold.
That's crazy.
Yeah, blindfolded runs are cool. It sounds like Salty Sponge is in Child Goron City with those chews. That is the Hot Rodder.
Indeed, it is.
And $5.
And we're going to visit that and make him dance.
Meanwhile, Riley, Child Kakariko, about to hit Grampe up, and I imagine going into that bottom of the well path to Queen Goma.
Oh, that was an item.
Something.
Dancing that.
Not noticed any changes to Sponge's personal tracker.
Maybe a free shield or something. More choose.
Yeah,
Who knows?
possibly. And he's doing the tree strats for the pot.
That looked like it. Did it work? I'm not sure. Hey, nice.
Well, it'll make that sound for two of them, but I think
Yeah, but if you're using two strats, I'm assuming that if you hit the explosion, you hit the right space.
more
it didn't sound like...
importantly, he's sounds like he safe scum those away.
Yeah.
So nothing valuable in Child Moron City, sounds like. And that's Serenade. He's already done the lake, so I think this must be going back to the Temple of Time. Unless he found a scale. No, he didn't pick up Rudo's letter. Oh, Skulltula.
Okay, that's Requiem. You have already your slingshot. You might as well see what's going on over there and get a free song on top of doing Child Spirit, which is another one of those checks that's becoming more and more popular as the tournament keeps progressing.
Well, if it's a medallion dungeon, you're definitely inclined to check Child Spirit, if you have access to it.
Riley didn't quite get the right positioning when he opened the door, but that side hop saved it. I'm terrible at this trick. If I don't get the right positioning on the door, I've never actually succeeded at lighting the torch in time.
Sounds like more money from the Bulda O Destiny. Sponge has to wait a little bit of time a day out. Sounds like there's the bridge. And there is the time of day for little Richard.
Right. So time of day changes almost back to back. We're about to get something in bottom of the well. Hopefully it's directly the Kokiri sword, or it might be something else. It's been a long time since bottom of the well was a bait every single time. The changes to logic, mostly the lack of requirements for making the Lens of Truth more and more useless with every season, since players are more and more used to doing more checks blind, has made the well into a better play, since it's very early in logic. You only really need Zelda's Lullaby and an explosive to check everything, so it usually has some progression if Son of Storm isn't really far into the logic.
Yep, there's only one way to find out if there's something good in the bottom of the well, and that's to jump inside.
Well, we already know there's something, but Riley still hasn't collected it. And the big chest on the vanilla big chest in the center of the well is still big. So we're about to see if that's our Kokiri sword or if it's something else entirely.
Speaking of seeing, we have seen a blank and a flash from Salty Sponge. Trying to get their video in order.
And Team Never Buy a Shield wins again today. Riley just got himself a free Hylian shield.
And a sword.
Boring, but probably the preferred answer to the logic question.
Yeah, nothing to write home about. And there we have Salty Sponge here in Child Graveyard. Looks like he is right behind Riley here into the bottom of the well.
Welcome back, Sponge. It was fun to guess what you were doing, but I think I prefer to see your gameplay.
I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one.
Oh, Vanilla Steve.
Not that it's an exciting race. It's just a fun mental challenge.
Yeah, when it happened initially, I was kind of iffy on it, but I have to admit that it was fun.
We've had the spoiler log races on the Silver Gauntlets channel where two people pair up. One has the spoiler log and is able to do Pictionary style hints to the other racer. I think there could be something with sound.
Is there a first key?
I'm not sure.
I don't think the sarcophagus was a key, and I didn't see a key in Front Bombable or any of the central chests. Second key. Okay.
I have the back left bombable is a key.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's what I think.
I not see that.
I was asking because there was only 3 chests left that I didn't know. I know that back bombable is a small chest, but I didn't know if it was a key. Apparently, yeah.
If Riley was in this position with having only seen 2 small keys, at this point he could guarantee that the bottom here is his third. But we're gonna get a swap as Riley's coming out of the well. Sponge is not going in. Never mind.
And the well doesn't stop giving. There's something else here.
Ooh.
Another shield. Team Nervia shield really wins today.
Yeah, we'll take that one. Thanks, game. And a strength upgrade right behind it.
Definitely take that one too. That's the Forest Temple. All fully available to us.
And not the dungeon items we want to see, but that mirror shield goes very nicely with that strength as well.
Oh, true, there was a Deku shield as well in the world. All 3 shields were Frogs. Was a Deku stick. I don't know if it was Frogs 1 or Frogs 2. Are those boots?
Iron boots, maybe?
Nighttime, the arch. I have no idea if I saw anything remotely resembling an actual item. I think that was boots. It might be Deku shield.
Well, we'll get an idea if Riley makes a play for Child River, but first he's more interested in Child Spirit Temple. Strength upgrades have a tendency to be hiding in the Spirit Temple.
Oh, fair enough. The sunblock room and the map chest at least is usually faster as child, and this seed you're not sure that you're ever going to get Dean's Fire because you know where it is and you don't necessarily believe that you have to complete Shadow, so maybe climbing is the way to go, and that's a key, so they can.
Yeah, that's a good point. Keep track of that fire source. All eyes are on Riley as he's missing that crystal switch because we've already seen the bottom of the well.
The thing is, I think Riley hits exactly on okay, that's the long shot. I mean, we need that. It's a really good find.
All of a sudden, we are a hammer and iron boots away from go mode and magic.
Yeah, but that long shot also means GTG access. And GTG means Dean's Fire, potentially.
Well, my stance, eventually everything's gonna be available. And the difference between a jet seed and an all dungeon seed is there's a lot more available in a jet seat at the end of it.
Fair enough.
I'm really excited to see maybe if Riley goes all the way up to the right hand, we might get a better peek at that arch. Because if those are iron boots, Riley is magic and hammer away from. I guess he needs a couple strength upgrades.
Yeah, he's missing a
But
couple of stats.
it's looking really good. Just 31 minutes in here. And we don't have a whole lot of info. We know the Dongus Cavern is a foolish choice. That's an interesting one. You don't get to see that too often. Got a Lost Woods path hint. Bottom of the Well path hint's already been fulfilled.
I don't think we have quite enough explosives right now. I think we need another set of shoes, a bomb bag, or a wallet to be able to finish the seed, because I think they have like 6 left, and we need to do the Dongo, Fire Temple, and Spirit Temple, so I don't think we have quite enough.
Yeah, you're almost certainly right on that point.
But we do have fire, so 5 chews left. It seems that Riley just saves, probably preparing to scum them if there's nothing here in the top side of the child Spirit Temple.
I was just remembering though, our bow is path to Morpha. It's not locking any of our strength or our long shots. So that bow somehow has to unlock our iron boots. Or something that leads to iron boots. So I think after this, the Forest Temple would be a pretty good play. Oh wait, he has to do Deku first, but on his next route through Adult, I think it would be very likely that we're going to see the Forest Temple.
Maybe. Like I said, GTG is still an option, and there's Horseback Archery. It depends on how many checks are you willing to do in Forest Temple. If you go in there, you're probably going in there just to do the initial loop, or you go in there to complete the whole thing.
Well, unfortunately, it was Song of Time out in Colossus for us. The bow doesn't really unlock anything in that first loop. So if you're chasing that path hint because of the bow, you're going deeper into Fire to the Ghosts.
True.
We'll see where Riley goes from here. I think
if you're going into the deeper side of Forest Temple where you need the bow to access it, I don't think the density is better than GTG and Horseback Archery. But we don't have a Pona right now, so I don't know. Maybe get something from Deku and see where to go from there. I'm sure these runners have better ideas than we do.
Riley certainly is heading straight for the Deku Tree. Thought he already got the Wolfos Grotto. Yeah, okay.
It's a required dungeon, it's progression, you have everything you need. You're not really going to do it in go mode unless you get Team's Fire and you have nothing else to get, and that's not going to be happening for a long time. Of course you do Deku Tree. I think. Is he going to Child Garden City? Well, it seems that he's about to be disappointed alongside Sponge.
Yeah, chat is correct. 30 is dead. Still missing 40. Still missing 2 of our foolish hints. 2 path hints. I also forgot Spirit Temple's path to Twin Rova. So that long shot might lead us to a strength upgrade.
Maybe. There's always spirit key logic.
Ooh, Lake Hylia foolish. But that makes GGG a bit stronger of a play if you're trying to figure out the Spirit Temple path to Twin Rova.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that only had an item. Like, we're about to see what the item was. Oh, Lens of Truth. Trackers, come on, we're relying on you guys.
Why didn't
So
you hear
disappointing.
that?
Well, I guess.
It's interesting that Salty Sponge chose to scum that away.
Yeah,
I mean, he can't use it. It really only unlocks the treasure chest minigame for him. But that's a gutsy play in my book.
One check. There's one check in the game, and we still don't have magic. But if we need that check, this is a long way to go. Are those shoes more valuable than having that one check done? Sponge thinks yes.
My money's on Salty Sponge.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think so.
He's got slightly more practical experience in the randomizer.
Okay, that one looks good.
For anyone who was unaware, Salty Sponge was the winner of Speed Gaming Live 2020.
Riley disagrees. Riley thinks that Lens of Truth is worth 5 shoes or 4 shoes, I think.
We'll have to see which one of these racers finishes the game with that thought in mind, that I did the seed better than my opponent. In order to find out, you're going to have to stay tuned right here, only on ZSR. But Salty Sponge did beat Riley into the Deku Tree halfway home.
Yeah, since Riley eventually followed Sponge into Garden City, he seems to have caught up quite a bit. And it seems that the Tree still it hasn't yielded anything of much value to us, although as soon as I say that, there's a big chest next to Link.
Where was Strength Upgrade 10 Skulltulas? Thanks, chat. Riley has been collecting them, just hasn't turned the 10 reward in. No excuses with that bomb bag. Ooh, but speaking of all that Lens of Truth shenanigans, there's our magic.
That means that Riley's definitely doing Lens game. Maybe Sponge is regretting it right now.
So we have a bow path to our iron boots, a long shot path to our silver gauntlets. It's like a pseudo no mode. Oh, and the hammer. We need a path to Volvagia hint, please.
We still don't really know if Longshot is past the Silver Gauntlets, so we still have Spirit Key logic to account for because of...
Well, because we already have a strength upgrade and the mirror shield, what else is there?
Yeah, but Longshot itself is required to get the right-hand key if you do the temple in a certain way, as you don't have all 5 keys available before a certain point. I don't quite remember, but there is a possibility that Longshot itself is the path because of Spirit Temple key logic.
I hope not.
I agree, but it's a possibility.
Tresco jumping in chat and he's like banning people. What's going on? Alright, and more ping-ponging back and forth. Salty Sponge's turn to jump into the Spirit Temple. And we might get a better peek at what is on the archway here. Nope.
Oh, that reminds me, by the way, that we're 40 minutes in and fire arrows are logically usable. We have a bow, we have magic, we have fire arrows. That's not a common thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what we can use it for, but...
Yeah, I was just trying to think, well, we've already checked the Royal Tomb. What can we use those fire arrows for? We don't have silver gauntlets, can't use them in Spirit Temple.
We do have lens to logically cross and long shot, although long shot is probably not in logic. Maybe it is.
Long shot's in the logic. We had Requiem. Requiem was in the Royal Tomb.
Yeah, but we need a key to reach Longshot because it was in the sunroom in Upper Child. So it depends on whether or not we can get strength 2. Spirit Temple logic, man. It doesn't make any sense.
I thought, Longshot was the first chest on the child side. Sponge is gonna grab it here.
Oh, what was in the second floor? It was just a small chest? Oh, never mind.
Fire arrows were in the second
There it is.
floor.
Okay, never mind that. And then Longshot is fully in logic. So yeah, we have Longshot, we have lens, we have magic, we have fire arrows, and bow. We have everything we need to cross and get the wasteland chest.
Yeah, Cemetery, we did find the Kokiri sword in the bottom of the well. That path has been fulfilled. The interesting ones are our Spirit Temple path to Twin Rover for the long shot, and our bow path to Morpha. So hopefully our long shot takes us to the Silver Gauntlets. The bow definitely has to take us to the Iron Boots. But you never know, you might pick up 2 scales on the way and end up not needing it. Just a 10% chance those Iron Boots are hard required in the Water Temple.
By the way, Tofile is correcting me in chat. You don't need lens to cross to get the wasteland chest because you need to cross to get that chest. You just need to get to wasteland, so you need either hovers or long shot. We have long shot, so we have everything we need anyway.
Speaking of having everything we need, Riley thinking, that's all I need to do as child. I'm going back adult. Let's nip this seed in the butt.
It wasn't small, chat. It was fire arrows. That's why I remember a big chest up here. I was still wrong. I'm not trying to save face or anything. But there was a reason, okay? I was wrong for a reason. That's, I guess, better?
Alright, so where to now? I haven't seen a whole lot of Death Mountain yet. Otherwise, I think the Forest Temple, really good play to follow that path to Morpha.
And it seems that we're going to see Lens minigame on Riley's side. So, we're still going to do Richard first, but get ready to get your guesses in chat.
And unfortunately, no bomb bag to full clear the market here. Shout out to both these runners, 45 minutes, and still have not turned in Rudo's letter. I guess Salty Sponge hasn't seen Rudo's letter yet, but...
I mean, Riley is about to go adult, it seems, and he's not planning to turn it. I don't think he wants to go. Jabu is a stone, and Ice has Bolero, so I don't think he wants to go anywhere near Zora's domain.
Oh, did we get an Ice Bolero hit? Very cool.
I think so.
I'll trust you. So that's the Crater, Burning Cack, and OOT. With our last 3 songs, Epona's Nocturne and Prelude. We know OT can't be Nocturne, so that's some deduction.
It seems that Sponge made the right choice. Lens led to a small chest.
And just like that, Salty Sponge is going to beat Riley once again into the Temple of Time, make his withdrawal, and we're going adult.
Sponge is not only in the lead in terms of getting to the Temple of Time, but he also is a strength ahead. Riley is probably going to get it fairly soon, but he is nonetheless behind on Skulltulas, and he has to turn it in, so they keep exchanging the lead, which we can tell much more easily now that we can see what's happening in Sponge's stream. But we could tell from the start.
Okay,
Of course,
long shot
the
to
Eternal Adult, you have all the tunics, all the shields ready to be equipped. I love it.
I'm guessing this is a play for Goron City. Haven't stopped Little Link, haven't seen what's in the crater. Is it going to be Prelude? Is it going to be Epona's song? Stay tuned here on ZSR to find out.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting Bolero ever, but Minue is a decent replacement song. So even if you have to go to Fire Temple a couple of times, you don't really lose all that much. By getting the song now, you can potentially save a lot more time, whatever song you get, and whatever you get from DNT then. Oh, Sponge is trying to do some weird clunky collision with arrows to blow up the bomb flowers from the other side, but eventually he just gives up and bends the shoot.
Relatively new tech. The arrow travels so fast that the boulder does not detect its collision before the arrow collides with the bomb flower. But hurry up, chat, and get that sub in. It sounds like Cubs wants to run an ad break.
That was a very early shot onto the bomb flower. Link the Goron almost didn't get hit.
Oh. And Riley with a very nice rupee count as Salty Sponge collecting the silver scale.
And right Jabu access. We are hovers and potentially stands 2 if GGG is main from AD. AD access at least.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what is here. That is Epona's song, so our all dungeon song is Prelude of Light. We do not need our blue potato for this seed, even if we have to jump into some stone dungeons, which I am really thinking is likely with that bow path. So
I couldn't see anything.
So
did you see what
info.
was?
Oh, on the volcano? No.
On the wall? No.
Oh, the wall? That's less important.
Oh, just saw a couple of arrows.
Oh, was that a foolish hint?
Yeah, Fountain is dead. Oh, it's foolish. That wasn't Ironwood thing in the arch. Top of the arch.
What?
We got Ironwoods on DMC, so we have irons, we have long shot, we have a strength, we have a bow. We have everything we need to be Water Temple.
How is that path to Morpho? We had a strength upgrade. Is Link the Goron not in logic with the strength upgrade?
We don't have explosives or a hammer. It was in the grotto that needs.
Oh, so the bow leads to explosives. That's interesting.
That's my guess.
Very cool. Alright, alright. I can dig it.
Is this
So-
gonna be one of those bombs lock the entire seed logic?
Well, it's locking that part of the logic for sure. I mean, most of our items were pretty low sphere.
Yeah, I guess we have way too much stuff already to have a big bottleneck in bombs.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, unless we need more explosives, which we absolutely do to Dongo, we are a hammer away from completing the seed. Sponge following that bow hint for another magic meter.
What we do know is that hammer is definitely bow locked, because bow leads to our only way to get into to get iron boots. So we're going to be hunting for that hammer eventually. We know a bunch of places that we don't even need to check.
And we definitely know we're gonna need the hammer. Don't know if that's bomb locked or not. We might not need bombs. It's gonna be really interesting to see the end of the seed. We're just 52 minutes in. We do still need to track down another strength upgrade. Keep forgetting that.
There was a
Strength
small
hammer.
chest behind the crack wall. Riley has 0 choose. I don't think that was a key, but I don't think he cares really. As long as it wasn't boss key or a big chest, it's fine. But yeah, coming to Water Temple with 0 choose is scary.
Oh,
Wasn't
crack
punished this
ball,
time.
yeah, you're right. Salty Sponge does have 1 chew to his name. That could be the difference maker here.
Thankfully, it didn't matter this time around. There are 2 keys available, 2 small keys available outside of the crack wall, and I don't know if it was a gilded or a regular small chest, but it was a small chest, so we don't need to go into the crack wall this time around.
And that chew's not going to come into play in the Water Temple. But we still need the Fire Temple, Spirit Temple, and the Dongo's Cavern.
That is very true. Okay, that's an
There
easy
it is.
boss key. Question is, do you check all of Water Temple or do you just Spirit? Water doesn't have the best density of checks, but it's still full clearable, and
And I think with chest size matches content, you at least check the vanilla boss key chest and the bow target. Yeah, I think Riley's going to check the center here. He doesn't have 2 small keys yet to do the boulder haul. It's going to be interesting to see if Salty Sponge makes that choice.
that's a small key in the bow locked chest.
So that's at least 3, maybe 4.
There should be 5 outside of the loops. Usually, at least 4. Since the first 3 keys in Water Temple lead to literally nothing, since you can open the first key in the Dark Link rule, the Dark Link loop, the first key in the boss key loop, and then the small key in the bottom of Water Temple that only leads to the central pillar. So those 3 keys are useless. It's only the 4th key that starts being useful, and we need to find it still. So,
and unfortunately, with that boss key placement, Morpha could very likely be a small key here. But Salty Sponge is checking the vanilla boss key chest. See if
Riley
Riley's
decides
missing out
that-
on anything.
Was Central Pillar hinted? Riley's decided that it's not worth checking. It's very likely to be a key anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was hinted. I think Riley's just saying, I don't have the time to waste on that. So he knows his opponent is very capable. And,
Yeah, you have Epona and Bow, and you know that Bow locks explosives or the hammer. So I think HBA and GTG, the Gerudo area in general, is probably your strongest play, and you're right next to it. If nothing comes from the entirety of that area, you can just jump into the water and come back to the water temple, and you have Serenade. So it's probably better to do more check dense areas first, and then maybe come back.
Riley needs to get back to Kakariko to turn in those skulls for his strength upgrade. Luckily, that is our adult spawn.
That's a question if he does it before going to GTG, because if there's a strength somewhere in there, that could give Sponge a big advantage. Because that gives Sponge access to Silvers and the back room of GTG, the Silver's Brock room. Dax 16. Pretty nice Skulltula account.
At this point, Ice is looking like a good play for Riley. Haven't seen any of Zora's River.
Riley not checking Shoot the Sun is highly foolish.
Yep, that was one of our hints we got outside the
Okay.
Deku tree.
I completely missed it.
Riley stopping in. He's going to get his second magic meter. Let's see if he grabs his strength upgrade from the Skull House. Salty Sponge missing the quick shot, going for corner strats.
And then our other magic is locked behind the bow, which doesn't really matter.
And our first strength upgrade was pretty easy to get in the Deku tree.
Does Riley not have 10 skulls?
He surely has 10 skulls by now.
He's not getting his bracelets.
Looks
I
like
don't think
he's
he has the
reversing.
With no Chu to get the fairy here.
Yep, going to be orphaning off that check, but does have the fire for the wasteland.
That's 10 skulls orphaned, that's the fairy orphaned. He'll get it eventually, the 10 skulls check, but it could cost him quite a bit.
Thankfully, there's not a whole lot that strength unlocks just on itself. I mean, it is so close to his spawn. And is this a Forest Temple play for Salty? Or is he going to Ice Cavern? Oh wait, we don't have an empty bottle, never mind. Forest it is.
Riley didn't check Wasteland either.
That is an interesting play. That one we might have got hinted, though.
Of course, as we enter the Forest Temple, it's the best time to give some shoutouts. Shoutouts to Kid and MC Hondi. MC Hondi, who's apparently trying to track every single race throughout this tournament. He's volunteered for absolutely everything, so special shoutouts, at least from me. Of course, for both of our runners, Sponge and Riley. I promise you, Sponge usually has visuals the entire time, and he's a really cool guy. And of course, Riley as well. They're both amazing runners, and if you don't know about them, then you should. They have great content. And thanks a lot, August, for finally doing a commentary alongside me. Happy 1 hour, by the way, everyone.
It's the most wonderful stream here on Twitch.
Yeah, Riley seems to be paying little attention to scores right now. We have the 50 and 30 hints. I think he's assuming 40. There's no way 40, so it's anything.
I wonder if he's trying to chase that bow path. A little redundant now that we've cleared out the water temple. But I guess it is also that long shot path to Twinrova that is unlocked here in GTG. Actually, not with opponents being in the crater. This puzzle is getting really confusing the more and more pieces we uncover.
Well, I still think that as long as opening up the boulder is locked behind the bow, everything falls in place just perfectly.
I was just thinking that the long shot, though, can't be path to GTG because opponent's song was readily available for us in the crater.
Right. And it's not...
Or do we need... No.
Nocturne is required. Maybe it's Shadow Temple because it gives us Burning Cack. A Longshot locks Water Temple, which is required to be to get what we know now to be Nocturne. Which means Shadow has something. If that Longshot is Path. It's the only thing that Longshot really locks. This seed that we haven't confirmed to be nothing already.
Clarification in chat, we can actually access the crater with the bow or the strength upgrade as adult.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Still, Longshot can be path if the right hand of Twinrova has a key, and it does. So Longshot might be... Okay,
There
that's
it is.
A bow-locked bomb back. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Boat bombs to our iron boots.
Right on time to beat Abimos.
So unfortunately, without strength, there are 4 checks that Riley can't get in here. We'll have to count our keys.
That's 2.
Nothing so far in the Forest Temple for Salty Sponge, but that is what we expected. Expecting even more so in the back half, having gotten that bomb bag out of the lobby of GTG. So it's looking really good for Riley here at the 1 hour mark.
3. And the only other chest that I see is the central chest, which is big, obviously, because we know it's Tin's fire. Riley not committing to a toilet.
No, not this early. You want to do the loop. See the center.
Do you go for the Inspire if you don't have enough keys? Do you go for toilet to get the Inspire if you don't have enough keys?
I think so, yeah. You do know Shadow Temple is locked by your silver gauntlets, but I think it's a play to make. But I don't think Riley will run into that problem.
We literally need 2 more keys to reach the center, so maybe he'll have enough. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chests left for Riley to open, and 2 of them have solid keys. If that's true, if that's the case, then he has access to the Inspire. Otherwise, he might have to take a swim in some mentally disturbing waters. That's 6. Only 1 left.
And unfortunately, the deeper Sponge goes, the worse and worse this feels. Small chest after small chest. But it's hard to blame him with that Lost Woods path to Morpha. And at this point, he knows it's explosives.
And like I said, Hammer also has to be locked by either the bow or explosives, so maybe it's going to pay off eventually. We really need that hammer. The bomb back, as far as we know, is just nice to have. So far, Reddit really hasn't gotten anything huge. If Sponge gets a wallet or something to that effect, or just the 20 pack of juice, then he's not really behind, even after Riley having found the actual bomb pack.
Yeah, Sponge could definitely dodge coming into GTG here. But this big chest makes it a little less likely.
Yeah, he's not.
That's a hammer.
Well, that makes sense. Definitely bow locked as well.
But just like that, here at 1 hour and 8 minutes in, just shy of the 69-minute mark, we are looking for our second strength upgrade. We know Nocturne of Shadow is on Burning Cack, it's vanilla. So Silver Gauntlets are not going to be in Shadow Temple. At this point, Ice Cavern's looking really strong. Jabu's Belly would be a very interesting play. We had Sphere Zero Boomerang in Mido's house, Rudo's Letter on top of Dodongo's Cavern. We haven't seen Dodongo's Cavern because it is a foolish choice, and it's a light medallion. But
That was exciting for a second, but then it was just a screenshot.
I haven't seen any of Zora's River, where there's not a whole lot of places, and unfortunately, I think Ice Cavern is the densest location.
Honestly, yeah, but Fire is progression, so I think Fire is probably the better play. They're both near each other, so you can go from one to the other relatively quickly.
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna want to do the Fire Temple. Doesn't have strength, it's not in logic according to him. Hopefully he's got 10 Skulltulas.
Well, there are no Skulltulas in GTG, so all the time he gained from getting bombs and hammer is time he didn't spend collecting skulls, which he definitely needs.
I'm getting concerned about that strength upgrade. He's not playing Sunsung here. There's 2 really easy skulls, but he's doing the Hammer Rocks first, I guess.
That's a big chest in Forest Temple.
And there they are.
And just like that, both runners have to do what the other one did, but it seems that all that time investment is definitely worth it.
Yeah, bad news for Riley, that's a strength lock strength. Good news, there is a third one out there. Bad news, it could be anywhere, even in the Spirit Temple, even in the like room of GTG. It just got really exciting here. We are in no mode. The runners are looking for another piece or two of the puzzle. Still
Another piece of good news for Riley is he won't fight Amy, Meg, or Phantom Ganon because once he gets that strength, he's in common. Since it's locked by the others.
Yeah, actually, I'm a little surprised Sponge is sticking around this far.
Until you get Hammer, everything that's locked by the bow is worth checking.
It's gonna be I think this is our first peek of the Goron maze. Oh, no, Riley's skipping that, too.
Of course, there's a big chest here. We checked this earlier.
Oh, thanks, game.
Okay, that's a clip check. I mean, it's a relatively convenient place for a claim check. Plus, it's nice to know that Big Goron isn't going to remain suffering for all eternity this time around. He's magically cured from his eye pain.
I don't think Riley's going to turn that in. Unless... We must have seen a Big Goron hit by now. Hey, thanks, game. There is our path to our hammer. GTG Path to Volvagia.
Which I don't think our runners could get prior to going to GTG. At least in logic, so...
Right?
Yeah, with the 10 pack...
explosives.
Yeah, with the 10 pack of shoes, it's a big investment to check this area.
Yeah, Riley finishing up a handful of checks here on the Crater before going into the Fire Temple. Still missing the strength to get it logically available, but there is a bomb bag for Sponge.
Another bowl of bomb bag.
That could delay him from GTG a little bit, unfortunately.
Like I said, until... Well, yeah. Now bombs could be locking hammer, so either bow or bombs have to be locking the hammer. It's still a relatively narrow amount of checks that Sponge has to check, thanks to that hint, but...
Yeah. The good news is that bomb bag will take him into Dodongo's cavern. He might opt to then check the Goron maze and get his GTG hint. That'll give him no ambiguities about where his hammer is.
That is true.
Another option, right, that the second copy of the GTG hint might just be in the Dodongo's cavern lobby. Have to see if they choose to check that Gossip Stone on their way inside. But Riley is digging out fire.
If he does get that check in that hint from the maze in Goron City, he might actually skip all the chests and all the checks that are not locked by bombs or bow. It might be a really fast GTG, like a loop from the right all the way to the statue.
I think, unfortunately, with the chest size matches content, jumping inside and at least peeking at the maze is a little too tempting, I think. First check and fire, though, just a small key. Sponge, though, it looks like... Oh, wait, no, he's doing Spirit first, of course. But in Sponge's mind, the hammer could be in Shadow Temple.
It could be here in Spirit Temple as well.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is probably his best play. The question is, will he cross the desert after finishing Spirit Temple and collect his summer? or will he check something else?
GTG would be his dentist location. Riley is stuck looking for strength upgrades out in the wild. Hasn't turned in 10 Skulltulas. You know, that is one strength upgrade. Sponge getting his silver gauntlets in the checkerboard room in the Forest Temple. Being strength locked, there's just one strength out there for Riley. Could be here in Fire Temple, you never know.
So far, it's just a bunch of keys. Small keys everywhere. Another small key.
Well, there is our second chew pack. A little late, but there it is.
I'm surprised Sponge. Well, he only has 5 hearts and no wallet or Goron tunic, so or a bottle to get a ferry to the Volvagia. So I take it back. It definitely makes sense to check small chests still.
Yeah, that is a very good point. The Volvagia is a little challenging with 5 hearts. Very challenging for someone like me. Just a little challenging for these guys.
Well, now they have plenty of chews to do chew strats. I still think getting a 6th heart makes sense, just to be safe. But these guys should probably have no trouble defeating Volvagia with chew strats, with plenty of time to spare.
Well, speaking of time to spare, at this point, if Salty Sponge finishes up Spirit, does a reverse to GTG to get his hammer, it might be pretty close, but I think he could sub 2. It's unlikely, just because he doesn't have the direct knowledge, doesn't have the GTG path hint. But I wouldn't put it past him to come out of Spirit Temple and reverse across the wasteland.
He knows that either bombs or bow have to lock. So have to lock the hammer. So if he goes to GTG, he can just go take the loop from the right, and unless he's thinking that maybe Dean's somehow he can't. Shadow is foolish, right? And AD song is just prelude. So Dean's can't be the path to what's locking the hammer. Okay. There was.
You also have to remember, Sponge does not have that GTG hint.
No, of course, but he does know that bow locks bombs and the hammer, because bow was path, and that means every single access to the grotto in DMC was locked behind the bow. So anything that he gets from GTG that could be available without collecting the bow and the explosives can't be the hammer.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm picking it up now. Oh, Sponge has to pick himself off the floor after that axe to the face. But the iron knuckle goes down in the end.
Just enough health to survive. That's 4 hearts. And it seems that we have mid fire. Not quite deep, mid fire. But Riley seems to be moving on inside Fire Temple. Seems to keep going.
I mean, I don't know if I've seen it too often where someone has 3 small keys in the lower part of the maze.
Yeah.
That gets them all the way to the hammer chest.
These checks are still pretty bad in terms of efficiency, but yeah, that's a bunch of checks that are basically guaranteed to be items. Although, well, that's
He's
just
seen,
enough case.
seen the shortcut already. He should have peeked the upper maze. I wonder if that's the only reason he's going this way, is if he saw a big chest in here.
He saw a big chest down there in the map chest. And that's Hoverwoods.
Ooh. Interesting.
That
I guess no, they aren't required for Fire Temple. It's just interesting to see them in Fire Temple.
hammer chest was hinted a key. That is true. So yeah, it's relatively more straightforward. It's faster to check everything else.
I missed that hammer chest. Yeah, if the hammer chest is a key, all the remaining chests are random.
Yeah, you only have to check the compass and high score. Yeah, that's pretty fast. I completely forgot about that hammer chest being hinted.
What would we do without you, chat?
Very,
If you
very
have a
true.
Twitch account, you go and follow yourself. I don't think we've ever said that here on ZSR.
We should.
Go give yourself a follow. You gotta love yourself. Has
Sponge
Riley
has-
collected any skulls? Good question.
Definitely not the side maze skull. I think he collected the one in the boss key loop. So he might be at 10, barely. But I don't
Damn
think
it,
he's
Riley.
being collected that seriously.
According to our trackers, it's 8.
8. Yikes. That's commitment to skipping skulls.
But we do have a double boss fight, 1 hour 23 minutes in.
Our 3 favorite ladies in the game are about to be defeated by Link. I don't know if I like that.
That gives me an interesting question. I think Chad is the only one who could answer. Who has a better hairdo? Twin Rova or Rovagia? I gotta give it to the dragon.
Yeah, same. Come on. You can't beat the fire braids.
I guess it's not much of a question.
That's 2, and this should be the last bomb. 2 damage from the stun, 4 damage from the jump slash, 24 damage to Volvagia. Volvagia gets a headache, flies around, hits herself in confusion, and dies. Slowly.
I didn't know the hammer had confused ray technology on it.
And, well, Junrova suffers in a very interesting, very different way. And of course we get a hard container after defeating Volvagia. Very handy.
My question in chat, if Sponge crosses to the wasteland, it is looking at GG for Riley. Unless, of course, he can make the right beelines straight to 10 Skulls, straight to the Forest Temple. But it's looking unlikely. Another option 2, he could pick up another strength upgrade here from the Crater Fairy Fountain or somewhere along the way.
I agree. I think if Riley doesn't find that third strength somewhere else, Sponge heading to GTG is almost obvious. Riley collecting 10 skulls and doing Forest Temple all the way to the end, less so. Oh, Sponge is going to Kakariko.
Yeah, it's not looking good with that. That
Maybe he's just
yeah.
collecting Nocturne for some
Possibly,
reason.
yeah. Well, in his mind, Hammer could be in the Shadow Temple. He does not found that GTG hint. He still has to do the Dongo's Cavern. He should have 20 skulls by now. He might be doing that. I'm not sure if we ever saw the Redead Grotto here in Kakariko either.
He's definitely checking skulls,
Not
and
that.
that's 6%. And this is another explosive logs check, which might have the hammer. Yeah, this makes sense.
Unfortunately, it is not from our great fairies here on Death Mountain, as Salty Sponge finds a big chest here in Kakariko Village. And just a bottle.
I mean, we still haven't turned in the letter, so it's the only bottle we have. So
This is true.
that bottle is a fairy. It's an extra minute and some change for Wawaja.
And I guess Riley never found the big Goron hint, turning in that claim check just for some danger darts. He's so close. He's just...
Riley's heading to forest, but he doesn't have strength to collect the other strength, so...
it's gonna be a short trip in here, and he'll be back out.
Maybe enough to collect a few skulls?
Yeah, if he's not collecting these skulls here... Okay, he is. It's 9.
That's 9.
Yeah. I wonder if he gets his 10th and just saves, quits, goes back to CAC.
Both runners did the same thing, and we were confused with both of them. They already saw the side of the DMT chest. It's a big chest. They knew it. So while this is not the most dense location, it's still bomb locked and therefore bow locked, which means it could be the hammer, and they know it's big. So it just makes sense to come here. They have the Gak Grotto. They have all of Goron City. Everything that's locked by an explosive might contain the hammer. And Sponge is about to get his GTG hint, so this is definitely a big payoff for his play.
This might be GG's for Riley.
I don't know, Riley actually came into the Forest Temple, and if he collects 10 skulls and gets his strength right away, he might come back.
Unfortunately, I think Fire Temple is quicker than Adult Spirit that Riley has to do. Sponge is gonna really quickly clear Dodongo's Cavern.
Oh, Sponge didn't even collect the letter.
Now, this is his first time on Death Mountain Trail.
Yeah, this play makes even more sense now.
It has been some kind of crazy puzzle, but somehow Salty Sponge, probably helped by that Dodongo's Cavern is a foolish choice hint, has managed to dodge Death Mountain Trail for 90 minutes.
Well, actually, he collect the Crater Song and the Iron Boots, so he was in the area. He just never came down to the trail for some reason.
Yeah, he had better stuff to do.
He definitely did. I mean, he got himself essentially everything that he needs. Sadly, he didn't actually check the maze in Goron City, so...
Yeah, he did. He was right there.
He did, right. So he's about to head to GTG, and he has a huge advantage, depending on what Riley decides to do. He's safe, he's resetting to Kakariko. I think this is a strength.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But will he take that strength back into Forest Temple? That's a hard call to make.
That's not bow locked bow because it's locked by bombs. But Sponge is a braver man than I am. He opened the hole down to King Dodongo with a 2 backflip shield drop prior to collecting a big chest. I would have gone to the chest 100% just out of fear of accidentally falling into the boss area.
And there, the dino is down for Salty Sponge. All he has left is to jump inside the Forest Temple. We saw the boss key at the lower portion of the maze. And while Riley has finally managed to pick up his strength upgrade on 10 Skulltulas, he is not making a beeline back to the Forest Temple. There is still a 3rd strength upgrade out there, but at this point, I think it is Salty Sponge's match to lose. And it has been a jet. He might even still sub to this.
We want to see our first the river for the first time this race.
Yeah.
A rivière. So what happened?
There is a first time for everything. Alright, Sponge
Yeah.
me GTG, so it's going to be a little close to 2 hours. But I have faith, Salty Sponge can do it.
He needs to get the hammer from GTG, do fire, and Ganondorf. I think he can.
Sorry, chat.
Because-
Unfortunately, all these can't be all dungeons last locationing for both racers. Eventually, the items will be placed in such a manner that the runners just don't have a difficult time putting the pieces together. Unfortunately, Riley not putting those pieces together as well as Salty Sponge. But it's been a very impressive race nonetheless.
Yeah, Forest Temple seemed to be pretty low in content. There was nothing really of use in there for a long time, but eventually it paid off, and it paid off huge for Sponge. I'm curious as to why he collected the Colossus Fairy. I guess you collect everything along the way, but he has a hint about GTG being path to Volvagian. He only needs the hammer anymore. Maybe in hoping for hovers. I'm not sure.
Probably not hoping for hovers. I think hovers would be the last thing Sponge wants to see, especially in GTG. Thankfully, we know those are in the Fire Temple, but in Sponge's mind, it could still be locked in the Shadow Temple. He could be going for Din's. Oh, so that's a possibility. The GTG path to Volvagia could just be for Din's.
Hovers.
And hovers could be anywhere else. So a little surprising that Sponge didn't check the Wasteland there. But at this point, Riley has essentially run out of density. The Ice Cavern is his densest location. And you never know, 3rd strength upgrade might be there, but Salty Sponge got silver gauntlets in the checkerboard room of the Forest Temple.
Well, of course, Din's itself in GTG can't be the path to Volvagia because it's directly hinted, but...
Oh, right.
Maybe those hovers are still required. We know they're not, but maybe the hovers could be required in logic to fight Volvagia. So if GTG doesn't have our hammer, if it has our hovers, you still need to check bow locked and bomb locked checks. So it makes sense to collect the fairy.
Yeah, thankfully, stuff like the gold scale wallets aren't going to be coming into play. Most notably, Lake Hylia is foolish. But we'll have to see which route the Salty Sponge is going. It looks like he is going into GTG first. He's going to be dodging horseback archery.
Yeah, that makes sense. You check if this is hammer to minimize the time wasted, and if it is, and if it isn't, then you go GT. Then you go and do HBA.
Ooh, oh, okay, he's getting this chest. Is he going left? He is going left to the Stalfos, so this is the most efficient way for him to get his hammer.
True.
He will likely stop in at the like room. Just knock that out of the way. So still looking good. Salty Sponge sub 2-houring the seed.
Yeah, Bosky in Fire Temple wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad. Maybe.
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to go mode. We know he has to do... Yeah, he has to do the bottom loop of the Fire Temple for small keys.
Yeah, it was in the bottom of the maze, the Bosky chest. So he has to do the Bosky loop, the vanilla Bosky loop, and the chest in the big fire room. But after that, it's probably going to be the first chest that he checks. So about half of Fire Temple.
I always like watching the Salty Sponge. One of those runners that, more often than not, once they reach go mode, it's like they've been saving a little bit left of fuel in the tank, and they just burn it all right there. They crank it up and start going just a little bit faster. Raikaru, also another one of those players. As soon as they get something good, they start going a little faster. Unfortunately for Riley, no strength upgrade yet in the Ice Cavern. Nothing left except Bolero. Unfortunately for him, he's already done the Fire Temple. Salty Sponge would like that song, but they can not trade items.
That's 8 keys in GTG, and if we get a key here...
That would be an interesting
that's
idea.
The 9. That's the last key. Toilet has an item.
So imagine you're racing. You're like one item away from go mode. And you tell your opponent, hey, I'll trade you this if you trade me that. Could spice things up.
The worst trade in trade history.
I mean, at this point, Sponge would take the trade Bolero Fire for a strength upgrade. There is the hammer, and there is a Minuet, his quickest way back to Death Mountain Crater. Salty Sponge has reached go mode, 1 hour 39 minutes in. Will he be able to do the Fire Temple, climb Ganon's Tower, and Service Bacon sub 2 hours? You have to stay tuned here on ZSR to find out.
There was quite a few shield flicks that Sponge gave us. Maybe he's not super happy about the placement of that hammer.
Well, at this point, his adrenaline is pumping. He's been thinking, I got a whole lot of low sphere items. Did Riley check the Goron City maze earlier than me? Did he see that GTG hint? So Salty Sponge is feeling the pressure.
Yeah, there's probably some tension release. You're probably right. And he's about to buy himself a tonic.
Yeah, this'll take some pressure off. That's for sure. And then on the other side of the screen, Riley is feeling the pressure as well. He's thinking, fuck, 10 Skulls had a strength upgrade?
Yeah, that's definitely painful.
Fire boss key in the lower maze. I forget if it was the open room or the side room. But we'll need 3 small keys to get there.
It was the side room in the bottom, in the... I think...
I mean, Riley is in the right place for his strength upgrade. He's not going to be too far behind, but it is Salty Sponge's game to lose.
Definitely. And there's an entire Dodongo's cavern that Riley has to complete. It's not too long, but I guess he's in the area, but still. It's not a matter of a few seconds, and I don't see these runners losing that much. Losing 3-4 minutes to the end game when they are already in go mode. Very clean room from Sponge until the keys decided not to cooperate. And well, we've already seen it, we've already done it, but we're still in Fire Temple, so I guess this is as good a time as any to give some shoutouts to, of course, the runners, Sponge and Riley. All of them, if you're not, they are definitely worth your time. Of course, thanks to Kate and MC Hundy for tracking, particularly with all the technical issues early on into the seed. They helped us keep track of whatever was happening with Sponge, so thank you so much. And of course, thank you to August for commentating with me. Like I said, I've been wanting to do commentary with at least once with each of the other CSR commentators, and I know it's harder for me to stay up so late to be able to tag along the US commentator. So thanks for picking a much more EU-friendly time and doing this with me. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I was really excited to see this matchup. Always happy to help out. Glad to have you here in the booth with me. It's been a memorable race, that's for sure.
One of the very, very few jet seeds, which I'm prepared to call this a jet seed, and this tournament.
Oh, yeah. No questions about it right now.
It's not quite unheard of, Harum. There's been a few. I think there's been 2 already this tournament. But yeah, they're definitely very rare. We have so much AD, so much 50 skulls that it's kind of novel to get a jet seed these days.
I'm not sure why chat thinks that Riley needs some bomb chews. I guess it would make Dodongo's cavern faster.
Yeah, for
juice
strats on the wolf statue. So that he doesn't have to do the entire loop.
And
it's kind of a moot point. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I guess he does have Bolero now. But I think after getting Silver Gauntlets, Riley is likely to rush into Spirit Temple before doing Dodongo's Cavern, and before he defeats Twin Rova. I imagine the Salty Sponge will be dunning So I'm not sure choose will come into play. But it is good to keep that in mind, especially if you're running these casually or less casually.
And at this point, I'm reminded of those Jews that Riley didn't come to get his lens.
Yeah. And then that was the same point, right? Sponge could have gone back into Goron City, done the boulder maze, and got that hint that like an hour earlier.
Very true.
But that's what makes these so exciting to watch, is those spur of the moment decisions that take one runner in one direction and the other runner somewhere completely else.
I think we got the hints in the more interesting order. I think it would have been kind of boring if we had the Path to Volvagia and GTG hint prior to the other one. Too straightforward for my taste. It can be a Jetsi, but there has to be some spice in it. Come on.
Man, this one was really straightforward, especially if you'd gotten that hint. If Sponge had gotten that hint early, even, 15, 20 minutes earlier, he definitely would sub to this, no question. It's cutting it close still. But Riley, armed with Strength 2 straight over to the Spirit Temple, has the child side knocked out.
Only a couple of shield flicks. Maybe I'm reading too much into the so-called body language of these runners. Sometimes a shield flick is just a shield flick.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just going to the tune of the music.
Very true. Now that you brought attention to it, I can't stop looking at Volvagia's luscious mane. I mean, it's glorious.
A question in chat: Adult Spawn was in Kakariko Archery. Got it right. Sponge showing off those Chew strats.
9 chews, because we didn't get BGS. And stun into Jump Slash. That's 24 health. Volvagia that.
Unfortunately, no prelude. It is on our Ocarina of Time today, so a little bit of walking to get to Ganon's Tower.
Not Nocturne either, but we have Serenade for Child, and we have Kakariko Spawn for Adults, so it's not so bad. And there's some chews that Riley collected, so he can already do the chew strats for the wolf head. The entry into the backside of the back room of Dodongo's Cavern. Oh, the Triforce is on the hand, Riley.
Good news for Sponge. It looks like he lives to see another round. Bad news, that round is going to be either against the number 1 seed, Ikola, or it's going to be against Fluflush. But either way, he has made it into the top 4 of the lower bracket, right? Yeah, the top four.
There's quite a few rounds still left in the lower bracket.
There are quite a few races still left in the lower bracket, but we are Salty Sponge and Riley are ahead in round 6 of the lower bracket.
Right.
Still a couple of matches in round 5, and actually one from round 4 of the lower bracket still to come. But Sponge will have made it into the top 4. Or is that top?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, there's still a couple of people that join later into the losers bracket, so it's kind of the top 4, kind of not. There will be a point in which there are only 4 people in the losers bracket, and Sponge is one of them. But there's still 3 people left to join the losers bracket further into the tournament, so top 4 or top 7, depending on your definition.
Oh, yep. Challenge needs to be updated a little bit. That's what's throwing me off.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's not the most intuitive site to use anyway. The brackets can be a bit bloated and confusing.
But definitely stay tuned. I guess not for the entire time. But in about 5.5 hours, there's another match. Goomba versus Angle. No. Mr. Mario versus Angle. 8 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be another great matchup here on Zelda Speedruns. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, there's not that many people that are still in the tournament that have a lower seeding than halfway, than 32. And so I always like cheering for the underdogs. Plus, if you make it far into the tournament as a lower seed, every single game that you've played, every single race, has been against someone who's very high in the standings. So just because Angle is seed number 50 and Mr. Mario is seed number 3, that doesn't mean as much as people think it does. Angle has definitely proven himself to be a top contender, so exciting stuff. It's sadly a bit too late for me. I'll be sleeping while the race happens, but I'll definitely check the VOD tomorrow.
That is going to be Alpha Mario and Doc Heaps. I think Alpha Mario is Lee Harold? One of the Harold brothers. This is the final staircase that stands between Salty Sponge and the losers bracket round 7.
And we don't have Biggoron Sword, so I argue that this is the hardest boss to one cycle in the game, Ganondorf. I still can't do it even anything close to reliably.
Well, then you're going to have to make a video and teach everyone how to one-cycle King Dodongo.
Well, out of the bosses that are possible to one cycle. Fair enough, fair enough.
Seeding is just a suggestion. And there is Ganondorf down for the Salty Sponge.
Seeding tells you the difficulty of the path you have ahead of you, not so much the skill level. And, well, Engle's still alive after a very difficult path, so...
And speaking of still alive, the pig just won't take a hint. Like, Salty Sponge already took care of him with the Master Sword, but he's back. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Ganon. I say that, and then I look over to chat, and someone is in there promoting Banco. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. You don't want to play Banco. You want to watch Banco, sure.
Very true. That's what I was about to say. That it sounds like one of those things that I want to see someone else play, but I wouldn't enjoy playing myself at all. Mostly because I'm known to make the same mistake twice and 3 times and 4 times. So the third time I bonk in the same place after dying 3 times, it starts to get frustrating. It's funny when the streamer does it. Not so funny when you're the one being an idiot.
Speaking of an idiot, there is Ganon. He does not know where Link is. He's trying his best, but you just can't see him. He's too big.
I mean, Sponge definitely made Ganon look like an idiot.
Not too
And
difficult
he's not-
when you're such a talented gamer as one Salty Sponge. Let's get your GGs in chat. Get your knives and forks ready, because we've got bacon.
And easy sub 2. Very easy sub 2. More than 3 minutes to spare.
Yeah, and as someone said in chat, this is going to be one of our fastest finishes here of the tournament.
It's definitely the runner we've seen the least of. Only barely above an hour and a half of gameplay from Sponge that we got.
That is true. Good point. Well, yeah, it was some exciting gameplay, that's for sure, and I would not mind it if we started every... Maybe next season we don't even have a delay. We just have the commentary team not be able to see the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was fun. I want to try that again. Maybe on my own or something.
It definitely really helped to have Riley on the other side to show us, oh, here's where your adult spawn is. This is the song that's going to play in the windmill once Sponge gets there. So it definitely helps to have that comparison. But really fun when Salty Sponge kind of made a divergence, took us into Lon Lon Ranch, took us into Mido's house, got the boomerang. Very cool.
Definitely. I'm still curious about that Mido's house play. But still, you were very good at that, by the way. Yeah, I was catching quite a bit of stuff, but you kind of nailed everything when we were just guessing with the audio what was happening in Sponge's stream.
It definitely helped that the music and the sound effects weren't randomized too much. There's that point where he said, oh, that cow sound could have been Navi. And you're right, yeah, it definitely could have, but after a little more careful examination, now that was the Kakariko cow.
Yeah.
And real fun to put that early route together once we did find the boomerang. We saw Riley get it as a child in Mido's house. Yeah.
Fairly straightforward seed. I mean, there's not much else to say in terms of the logic. We got the hints in an interesting order, but if we had the hints for GTG, really everything was kind of very much along the way or hinted.
Yeah, it was really interesting hints. We still, I don't think, have our third foolish hint. But we do have Riley in the chat with us here. GG, Riley.
GG. Well, it seems that Riley can't hear us quite yet. He's still joining.
His mic is definitely muted, that's for sure. But a great race. Unfortunately, I think would have benefited from routing in Scotolas a little earlier, picking up that strength on 10. But really wasn't far behind at all.
No, in fact, I'd argue he was ahead for a while.
Oh yeah, no, definitely looked like a very, very close race.
It was that strength in Forest. I mean, in Forest didn't pay off. If that second strength was also in GTG, for example, then I think this was Riley's race to win, definitely. But because we had to go to both GTG and Forest, and Riley just didn't have that strength early on into the race. That ended up costing him quite a bit of time.
And
Hello, Sponge.
Sponge, not muted.
Hello.
Congratulations.
No, GG, dude.
GG, Riley. My bad.
I mean, that's fine.
Hey man, that was an exciting race. The Skulltulas, I think, was what did it in. We didn't see Riley get 10 skulls until 20 minutes ago. Playing a little harder on skulls, I think would have found that second strength upgrade close to when Sponge got the hammer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was like a... Go ahead, sorry.
No, you can go. I wasn't going to say shit.
I was just gonna say, it was basically a pure casino for me for both strengths. I mean, the seed was super restricted after a while, because Shadow was not accessible at all, so... There's very little at that point that could be.
Where are the hover boots? Do we ever find those?
Yeah, I had them. They're in fire.
Oh. Wait, what check?
Map chest.
Oh, the very next check. Cool.
Yeah, I kept going, because I was like, okay, like... I had, like, with how
We
many
had
keys
all
I was-
the keys.
Yeah, I was like, with all the keys I had, I was just like, okay, I'll grab map chest and then do compass and high score on and then leave. Because they were pretty quick.
Yeah.
And yeah, hovers were there, lens was on Darunia, chess game was nothing either.
Yeah, I scummed Darunia.
Okay. Wait, you just didn't, okay. You,
Could have been gutsy.
Yeah. Through the lens. I don't need
I
that.
didn't scum any shoes at all, so...
The child's toy.
And then, unfortunately, that GTG hint was so close right there. If you had a few more explosives, you would have gotten it so much sooner.
Yeah, I considered scumming the maze as a child, but I decided that if I didn't want to put myself in a situation where, like, oh, let's say I find Rudo's letter and now I have one bomb shoe left. Like, nah, let's just not do that.
Yeah, and that Rudo's letter, you didn't get that till the very end. Riley, got that in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I had that sub 5 minutes, basically.
And never turned it in.
I mean...
So, Riley's talking in the race room, he's like, damn, I wish I didn't go Ice Cavern or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I legitimately couldn't do it. He's like, you didn't get the bottle in Cat Grotto? I didn't have a bottle until I was basically in go mode.
Yeah.
I had that, like I said, I had Brutos, but like, after my child won, the game was screaming to me, go GTG, so I just went GTG.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. Like, getting long shot bow early, no explosives. Kinda knew first bomb bag would be there.
Wait,
And
GTG?
Yeah.
In the lobby. Yeah, we saw Salty Sponge get it in the basement of the Forest Temple.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the other two before I even went to GTG.
You got the one in Spirit? Okay. How early
Yeah.
did you have 10 skulls then?
My first time in Child CAC.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really, really quick. And we were wondering, when's Riley going to get over there? Surely he's got 10 skulls by now. And you ended up doing the first Forest loop. If you'd managed to do that in the other order, gotten the strength upgrade, and then go to Forest before Ice, it would have been a really, really close race here.
Yeah, I mean, like, ultimately me getting the strength as late as I did, I don't think mattered much. Because we didn't really need the strength until... to get the other strength at the end. This is when I got the strength, I did the Kakarot and it gave me that extra bottle. I'm like, okay, let's just go Ice first, because I hadn't done River. River plus Ice was a lot more checks to me than going back. Forest had the same amount of checks, but it's a bit slower. And there's not really a reason for me to believe that strength was strength locked, so I just said, screw it, just do River, Ice.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
It was the best play at the time. I can't fault you for that, for sure.
Can I ask you a question, Riley?
Yeah, go for it.
Because
Sure.
do you not have the Fountain Foolish then?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I don't think we saw that.
Yeah, I had basically every hit except 40, so.
Yeah, I was considering blind 40 again, and then I found all my items.
So
there was
Hammer was
also a wallet in 20 skulls, so that's kind of like a bomb bag, essentially.
Yeah.
It's more like a
Whatever.
Goron tunic at that
Yeah,
stage.
I did fire with 5 hearts. No tunic, no bottle. That was fun.
No shoes even.
No. Come on, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, for the restream, we had the Dongo, Lake, and Fountain for our finishes.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little fun in the first 20 minutes guessing where you were, Sponge. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so the USB ports on my laptop are kind of fucked. So if I so much as tap the connection where my capture card is plugged into, the capture will freeze. The audio will still go through my mic. So you guys didn't.
Yeah, that was the fun
still have
part.
that, so.
and your tracker, you tracked the boomerang. You're like, oh, okay, Riley's got to be picking up the boomerang somewhere here in Kakariko. And then we finally put the pieces together when he was in Kokiri during Child. That you did minuet.
There's no check that he can do in SFM. Where did he get the boomerang?
I'm assuming. I'm assuming you did. You played Minuet, and did you play Minuet right away though?
Yeah.
Or did you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I played Minuet. I read the hint and I save reset instead of going down to Midos though.
We also knew that Darunia had an item for the longest time, but we didn't know which item because you scummed it, so it never went into the tracker.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say Sponge?
I don't know. I just don't personally agree with not going to Midos there. You get 2 hints and you get 4 chests, 10 bomb chews, and you could do DC. It was Baron, but we didn't know that at the time, so you get a hook shot, go to Crater, get a bow.
Speaking of that tech hiccup, you typed your name. Don't die to something. It froze in 2. What don't you want us to die to?
Oh yeah, I was at the beginning I thought I'd be funny and delete my save file over and over and write a message to Riley. Don't die to go 5 times like in Multi-World.
Oh.
We definitely heard some furious typing, but we didn't see anything. So.
Oh yeah, I bet it was the furious typing that knocked your USB port.
That actually, well, it froze while I was typing, so yeah, I probably hit the USB port with something while I was, I don't know. Oh man, I need a new laptop, but
you need a lot of things.
Yeah, money exists.
Yeah. So it seems like we did completely different routes. I just went up DMT because we got storms. I'm like, okay, I know DC was foolish, like going up there, peeking the chest, peeking up DMT, up on top of DC, and then doing the DMT storms, and then like safe quitting and going to Temple of Time felt good there.
Well, you guys were high-fiving pretty frequently. I think Sponge beat you into the Temple of Time ever so slightly, whatever the difference in the routing there was. You guys met back up.
I think it was the other way around because Sponge did Child Goron City much sooner than Riley.
Yeah, well, then you met up again when Riley was going into the Deku Tree. Sponge was right on top or right underneath them in the Wolfos Grotto. There was another point or two where you guys were ping-ponging back and forth, crossing paths enough times.
Riley went GTG, Sponge went Forest. Sponge went Forest with the strength. Riley didn't have the strength for the longest time. And then they switched places, but of course Sponge had strength too, and Riley had no strength, so that wasn't as fruitful of a visit to Forest Temple.
You guys were in the Water Temple at the same time. Riley was a little quicker in there, quicker to Morpha. And yeah, it was a really close race. Despite that strength upgrade.
Yeah, I'm just a little annoyed that the fact that the only 2 fucking sub 2 seeds in the whole tournament is my opponents kicking my ass. There are only 2 in the whole freaking bracket so far. God damn it.
And I think one of them's now been rolled by baseball, and one of them's been rolled by me. So you just need to avoid our seeds there in the future, Riley.
I would have rather had like a fucking 3.5 hours slogfest than Jetty Jets that like.
Hashtag blame baseball.
Just don't play your friends in bracket.
Yeah, that's the secret. I guess.
Takeaway. You're just gonna get a jet.
Well, I mean, good news. You don't have to race against Icola or Floosh.
I mean, I would have liked to race against them. My goal is to go as far in the tournament, not like some people might seem to imply, but...
unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles for season 5. Hope to see you back for season 6.
We'll see. All in due time.
You're doing League, I think, right?
No, I'm not.
No?
I am. Nah. I wanted to focus strictly on S5 if I played anything. I have RSL going on, but yeah.
Okay, good to hear. Looking forward to RSL kicking off. Just started. But Sponge, we got you for another round at least. What do you think about Icola or Floosh?
They're easy. No big deal.
Easy peasy, says Salty Sponge.
Yeah. No issues whatsoever. I'ma just chillax, relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball up at the school.
Yeah, you have to win now because you beat your friend. If you lose, you're gonna feel worse.
No, I'm just being a shitter. Nah,
I know.
they're pretty good. I'd rather not play Icola. I have nightmares about Icola. I just see a panda under my bed. I get scared and I run away.
We're looking forward to it. I can speak for everyone on that. I am certain.
Yeah, and Floosh is pretty good as well. I just a little bit.
Floosh the new RSL god.
Maybe.
Well, I hope that I don't get mixed pools overworld ER in my next bracket race.
Oh,
can guarantee that one.
It's gonna take a hard miss from somebody to get that going. Yeah.
Well, we will wrap things up here. GG to both our runners again. Sorry to see you leave, Riley. But good luck in your next race, Sponge. Coming up here on ZSR later today, actually here in about 52 minutes, we are going to have a Link to the Past Randomizer All Dungeons tourney race. We have Lin versus Mr. Ed 3. If you're wanting more Ocarina of Time Randomizer tonight, we will have Losers Bracket Round 5, Mr. Mario versus Angle. Otherwise, we don't have another match, it looks like, for now, until Friday, when we will have Just Sam versus Rock Chalk. But otherwise, GG to both the runners. Thank you very much, August 40th and Pansari, for commentating. And thank you again to our two amazing trackers. We had McCundy and Kid3124. And I would say thank you to Baseball for rolling this, but he rolled a jet seed, so I can't say that. But thanks for race modding, Baseball, and we will catch you all later.
Peace, man. See you.
See you around.
Bye.